Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, good people. Good morning to my friends all around the world. Welcome, Soul Family. Welcome to my sacred grove. We're here under the sacred trees by the sacred creek, having a sacred moment. Sacred. How's your heart today? Is your heart kind? How is your mind? Is your mind calm and clear? Nothing ultimately stays as it is. Nothing ultimately stays as it is. Let's break it down. In our lives, these modern times, there's no doubt in my mind that each of us are going to come upon conflicts. Conflicts. What is a conflict? Well, I brought my 1951 Thorndike Barnhart dictionary. When I want to know the definition of a word, I research it two ways: 1951 or the etymology of it. Where did it originate from? Typically it's in Greece. But I like the 51 dictionary, 1951, and it's no secret that definitions change depending on government influence, religious influence, or social activism. So I like the 1951 dictionary. It's still pretty unmolested in its explanations. What is conflict? Fight, struggle, be directly opposed, disagree, clash. Fight, struggle, be directly opposed, disagree, clash. That's conflict. Simply put, as I said, we will encounter conflicts in our lives, and we clash with it. We disagree with it, okay? It's as simple as that. The question is, how do you react to conflicts? How do you react to things that you clash with? How do you react to things that you disagree with? How do you react to them? Well, you might get sad. You might get angry. Here's what people need to understand, okay? Here's what we need to understand. Here's what I understand about life. Number one, our thoughts create our world. Our thoughts create our world. So when we have these conflicts, these clashes, these disagreements, how do we react to it? Why is this happening to me? I don't deserve this. I was trying so hard and now this happened. You might even say the world's against me, the world's against me. Calm down, calm down. Other dogs out now, carrying on. I used to, growing up, make comments to my grandmother. Well, this is some world we live in, I might say. Or even I might have said, the world's against me. And she would quickly rebut that with, Johnny, that's what she used to call me, her Johnny boy. It's not the world, it's the people in it. And it's not even the people in it all the time. It's us, ourselves. How we act and react towards disagreements, clashes. Why do we have these extremes? There will always be good and bad, left and right, positive, negative. Optimism, pessimism, okay? That's part of life. That's part of the human struggle, let's say. If you're not spiritually grounded, struggles. Whether you're spiritually grounded or not, there will be struggles, there will be conflicts, there will be disagreements, there will be clashes. The question is, how do I respond? Nothing ultimately stays as it is, okay? That's just another way of saying, and this too shall pass. And that phrase, this too shall pass, doesn't really involve hope in my mind. Hope. When someone says, and this too shall pass, we get this idea in our mind. I hope so. I can't believe this is happening again. I'll be glad when it does pass. I hope it passes soon. Things like this. When we think about it in the context of nothing ultimately stays as it is, we get to look at it from a different angle. If I look back on my life when there was conflict, I can honestly say, in most cases, if not all, it didn't stay as it was. It eventually changed. And there are many reasons for that. I don't fall into despair. I don't get angry. I might get upset initially because I didn't expect this to happen. So now I have to switch gears a little bit and see which direction I'm going to go. I'm not going to go into a despair mode, and I'm not going to go into an angry mode. And I'm not going to get some idea the world's against me, or I hope this passes, and all these things I've been through. Oh my God, here's another one. Things like that. Self-talk, self-talk. We get these ideas in our head of how the world should be, how our world should be. And it's not always going to happen the way we want it. If you could understand that there are ups and downs, there is good and bad, there is left and right, there is positive and negative, there is optimism and pessimism. When you accept the fact that things are not going to go the way we think they should go in our mind, when you accept the fact that with positive, there will be negative, with optimism, there will be pessimism, left, there will be right, good, there will be bad. When you can accept that this life we live isn't always going to be positive, that it will fluctuate between those two descriptions I gave you, good, bad, negative, positive, left, right, optimism, pessimism. When you understand there's this fluctuation going on all the time, when something doesn't go your way or a conflict comes, a clash, a disagreement, when you accept that this is part of life, these fluctuations, good, bad, etc., you're not going to be surprised, are you? And just like times of conflict ultimately don't stay as they are, times of happiness and joy ultimately don't stay as it is. There's this fluctuation, but in between this fluctuation, there's a state of mind that we could address as calm. Fluctuations in between is calm. C-A-L-M. What does calm mean? Not stormy or windy, quiet, still, not moving. Absence of motion or wind, peaceful, not excited. Absence of excitement, peacefulness. Make or become calm. Motionless, smooth, placid, undisturbed, and composed. I'm an observer. I learn from people what to do and what not to do. So, a lot of my experience has to do with decades in the 12-step program and the people that are members of that society. And maybe this has happened to you. Maybe you've said, what I'm about to say. Maybe what I'm about to say you could relate to. Maybe people in recovery have had more conflicts in their lives based on compulsion, indecisiveness, not being calm, getting into one scrape after the other. Let's put that out there. A lot of self-sabotage. You don't have to be in recovery to sabotage yourself. What does sabotage mean? Bungle. Bungle. Damage done. Damage done. So we sabotage it. We sabotage it because we have this idea. We're not aware of this fluctuation. Good and bad, negative, positive, left, right, optimism and pessimism. It's part of life. It's going to happen. When we accept that there are ups and downs, that's a starting point. But getting back to the people I observed in the 12-step program, and as I said, you didn't have to be a recovering addict or alcoholic. This may have happened to you. One day, you're having a conversation with someone and you say, something doesn't feel right. Something's not right. I don't know what it is, but something's not right. There's nothing going on in my life, but something's not right. I don't feel right. I take these statements and meditate on them. I take my own experience. I consider knowledge and wisdom that I've received from masters, other mystics, spiritual people, and put it into perspective. These ideas, concepts, and motives that I've applied to my life, okay? That person, or you, or how I used to be, that says something isn't right. There's nothing going on, but something isn't right. You know what that is? You've reached a calm destination that day or that hour. You are in a calm state of mind. And because your life was one conflict after the other, one clash after the other, one disagreement after the other, that made you sad, that made you angry, and you reacted, Now when you're calm, you have no idea what it is. And here's the problem. Most people aren't comfortable when it's calm. Most people aren't comfortable when they are serene. So what do? These people that don't understand being calm, these people that don't understand serene, like in a video I mentioned the other day, in 12-step meetings, when somebody speaks and the whole room is thinking about what was said, somebody will say, I can't stand the silence, I gotta say something. There's a person that doesn't meditate. And people that are in this state, there's nothing going on, but something ain't right. Something isn't right, I could tell, but there's nothing going on. You, most likely, are experiencing calmness. Calmness. And you don't know how to handle it. And here's what people do. They say, instead of understanding that they're calm, they say, I'm bored. I'm bored. And they proceed to make things happen. Instead of just enjoying the calm. I'm at a point where I'm very particular about people I associate with. There's an old saying, and there's variations of it. One is, show me who your friends are and I'll tell you what your future is. I'm particular about who I associate with. Mind you, I know that nobody's perfect. I commented on a video yesterday about someone was talking about, well, I thought I knew myself until I got into a relationship. Then all hell broke loose. And she was explaining that the clash of it, the disagreement of it, happened because she was triggered. A current event happened and it triggered her to go into her mind and think about horrible and negative events similar to that happened a long time ago. Now, I mentioned this before. I've studied neuroscience, and here's what I learned from neuroscience, how the mind works. When you have a negative situation, experience, your subconscious pulls out a file with all the negative experiences similar to that you've had all your life. So in the one sense, it's true. You could be triggered and go into your head and go down that rabbit hole. But now that I've told you this, now that you know it, you can't unknow it. When we have a negative experience, any experience we've had in our whole life. The subconscious pulls that file out and it starts processing. I don't feed into it. I don't feed into it. Number one, because I know ultimately nothing stays as it is. Number two, I know that was then, this is now. Number three, I can sit here and say, I've worked hard. I continue a daily routine, a ritual of meditation, a daily routine of self-examination and prayer. How can some people handle conflict with ease and others go off the deep end? If you can handle conflicts, disagreements, and clashes with ease, so to speak, you understand and accept that life is about ups and downs, left and right, good and evil, positive, negative, optimism and pessimism. You understand there's this fluctuation at times. What most people don't grasp is that period of calmness. I'm bored. There's nothing happening, but there's something happening. That thing. In meditation, as I mentioned, it's like this creek behind me. If you've ever walked a creek or a babbling brook, you go along the creek, it's flowing, and all of a sudden there's like a still spot, like a pond. The water's still running into it. This still spot, this pond, and the water runs out of it on the other side, but it's still. At one spot, it's still. So in meditation, when I sit on my deck, or maybe my kitchen when it starts getting colder, I sit there, my thoughts, boom, 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 they're flowing, and then they calm down, like that pond, that still spot in the creek. I know, I can say, from daily practice of meditation, I understand what being calm is. That daily practice helps me to be calm in other areas. When I'm sitting on my deck and my mind calms down, I ask myself a few questions. What do I have to do today? What do I need to do today? What should I do today? What's most important? Okay. I settle on a few things, maybe one, maybe two or three. And I still sit there, relaxed. I still sit there, relaxed. I know what's important today. It's worth mentioning again what I've learned from the Stoics. Okay? And this has to do with that fluctuation, left, right, up, down, good, evil, negative, positive, optimism, and pessimism. What I learned from the Stoics is, from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed, to sleep, at any point in the day, I could be frustrated, disappointed, annoyed, or hurt by a person, place, or thing. a clash, a disagreement with a person, place, or thing. Okay? I know this. I'm aware of it. Because I meditate, because I allow myself to go into this calm state of mind, you could say I've developed a habit. A good one. And I appreciate the calmness, but I also understand nothing ultimately stays as it is. But that doesn't mean I can't be calm through conflicts. It's part of life. If you don't accept that conflicts are a part of life, you will be disappointed day after day after day. You'll be hurt, frustrated, disappointed, annoyed. You'll think that someone is out to get you. In most cases, it's not that way. And you'll think, why can't I be happy? The world's against me. Nobody's against you. Our thoughts create our world, our thoughts. Maybe for a while during this process, as I was beginning my spiritual walk, and something happened, let's call it a shutoff valve. At that time, I didn't know about the shutoff valve. And so I would get upset. It's really self-centered thinking. Why can't I have a good day? Why is the world against me? Why are these things happening to me? I don't deserve this. Here we go again. That's your thoughts creating your reality. Things are happening because life fluctuates between left, right, good, evil, positive, negative, optimism, and pessimism. And in between, there's the calm state. In some cases, it's good to have brothers or sisters, friends, close friends, that could see if you're getting off track and offer you some hope. These people have to be like-minded. It doesn't matter if it's a friendship, association, or a relationship, man and woman. Like-minded people. People with your best interests at heart. What are your best interests? What is your purpose? What is your purpose? Out of decades of studying religions, doctrines, tenets, spiritual paths, spiritual ways, and philosophies, I developed 3 principles I follow. And this is my purpose every day. This is my purpose. 1, from the time I wake up till the time I go to sleep, to not hurt anyone with my words or deeds. 2, to not engage in any destructive activities or useless activities. 3, to not put anything into my system that affects my functions in a negative way. I keep it that simple. That's my purpose. My purpose is not to have the most expensive sneakers. My purpose is not to have an expensive car. My purpose is not to have an expensive motorcycle. You get the gist of this now, right? My purpose is to be calm. My purpose is to know when to use the oars to propel myself. The oars. Sometimes you're in a boat, you're going right along with the flow. Sometimes the flow is against you. Well, you got to use the oars to push against it, because this will not stay as it is. It's important who your friends are. It's important who you associate with. It's important what you listen to or what you watch on TV. I was going to say, well, let's look at it this way. When we're talking about other people. And this is from my observations. This is from my observations when I have conflict in my life. A clash, a disagreement. I used to pal around with people in the 12-step program. And my first sponsor in 1988 said to me, here's the truth from my experience. He's talking to me now. Not everybody does these steps. Not everybody goes through all of them. Most people quit at the 5th. And then they just learn to talk the talk. But not everybody practices these steps. Not everybody does maintenance of their spiritual condition. Don't look down on them. Look at it this way, that people teach you what to do and people teach you what not to do. So I was palling around with this person with more time in the program than me. And every time there was a conflict, he went nuclear. He went nuclear. The response was always aggressive. The response was, I'm hurt now. This ain't right. I'm going to get even with these people. All the time. Very rarely did he handle things calmly. Because as I learned over years myself, a lot of people don't meditate. I've offered my experiences to this person. They weren't up to it for whatever reason. They just wanted to complain, whine, get angry, and vicious. I can't hang around with those types of people. I can't associate with that type of person. That person doesn't have my best interest at heart. They don't even have their best interest at heart with themselves. And as I mentioned in a video the other day, all these overreactions and clashes and disagreements that they don't deal with keep piling up day after day after day. Till one day there's a snowball effect, or that's the straw that broke the camel's back. Are you going to get wise, or are you going to stay wounded? Getting back to that creator that was talking about, I thought I knew myself until I got into a relationship. Let's talk about a romance relationship, okay? This is my experience. People say they're ready for a relationship, but really, they're lonely. They're lonely. And they think another person will fulfill the gap. What attracts you to someone else when it comes to romance? Or the thought of engaging this person with a possible romance down the line. What's involved in that? You like the car they drive? You like the motorcycle they drive? Do they wear all these expensive name brand clothes? I'll just say this from a man's perspective. Are you looking at a relationship with this person because of how they look? It appeals to you. Or maybe there's a motive back in your mind. Sex. Sex. I'll stay single until I meet someone that has the same rituals, routines that I have. Spiritually speaking, I should say. Now I notice the sun's getting in here a little bit. Let's see if we could change that. I'm not sure. So what are your motives getting involved with somebody else? Are they like-minded? Or do you have these ideas? Are you lonely? Is it you want to have sex? Or do you want to engage in a friendship with a like-minded person? And see where that goes. I mentioned a lot about being compulsive. And relationships start out of compulsiveness. Whoa, there's my soulmate, right? He looks good, he's handsome, she looks good, she's pretty. And you're basing that on your emotions. Until you see her without makeup, or she sees you that you didn't shave for a while, and you need to do laundry, right? If you go into a relationship because you're lonely, at some point you're not going to be lonely anymore. And then you're going to say, wow, how did I get into this? What the hell is going on? I got involved with this person. They're a nutcase. Well, did you go into it with the right motives? Same thing with sex. Especially if you're a sex addict and addicted to porn. You're not looking at a mate. You're not looking at a mate. Let me rephrase that. If you get into a relationship and it's about sex satisfying you, sex. Or you're lonely and you want company. At some point, you're not going to be lonely anymore. And at some point, you're going to be sexually satisfied. You'll be sitting there one morning, the other person goes to work, and you're like, this was a mistake. Well, if you went into it with all the wrong motives, yes, it was. Now you're not lonely anymore. Now you're sexually satisfied. Now what? What I learned from that 12-step program in the 4th step is often we put ourselves in positions to be hurt or harmed. Often we put ourselves in positions to be hurt or harmed because we're compulsive, or we thought, hey, I'm ready for a relationship, when really you just wanted to be sexually satisfied. Or I'm ready for a relationship when in reality you're just lonely. And then when you're not lonely, there's a clash. When I talk about getting to know myself, this is what I'm talking about. I know myself. I can check my motives. Going back to my first sponsor, when I was new in recovery. And I had a sponsor because I didn't know how to live life clean and sober. I was a reactor, nuclear reactor. But anyway, when I would do something stupid, he would ask me, what did you do that for? What were your motives? What were your motives? To have sex? Lonely, so you want company? Somebody hurt your feelings, so you conjured up this revenge scenario and went through with it to hurt them because they hurt you? These things. What are your motives? What are your motives? I'm into this daily routine, this ritual. I get up, I go to the bathroom, grab a coffee, and go sit on my deck for 5 to 10 minutes or more in silence. I don't get up and turn on my TV. I don't get up, grab my phone, and check Facebook and text messages, TikTok, whatever. Don't start playing video games. I don't play them. All these things. As soon as I get up, I grab a coffee and I go sit in silence. In silence. That's my motive. That's how I stay grounded. And I daily maintain my spiritual condition. That's part of it. Self-examination is another part of it. But that includes checking my motives. It's like the person that says, well, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing going on today, but something's wrong. There's nothing really bothering me, but something's wrong. They're calm. They're calm. And they don't realize it. And they may get compulsive and start doing stuff that they don't have to. And if your motives are bad, because you're bored, My experience is a lot of times people that are calm but think they're bored and need to get something going. Well, think about somebody that hurt, frustrated, disappointed, or annoyed them a week ago, 2 months ago, a year ago, and they'll start thinking of ways to get back at them. This self-stimulation with wrong motives. Why can't you just be calm? Why can't you just be calm? Life fluctuates between good and bad, left and right, up and down, negative, positive, optimism and pessimism. Life fluctuates that way. But nothing is going to stay as it is. And in between that is calm.